Hi, and welcome to a special episode where I'm here with Sophia, my lovely wife.
Hi guys.
She's a really good LARP designer, having made a couple of wonderful LARPs. I would guess the most known ones are Last Will. But at this point, she's actually want to ask me some questions because she's making a new LARP and she's talking a lot about magic in that one, or rituals. And since that's kind of one of my subjects, I will take you guys along for that ride.
So what I want, so your expertise, what you actually did your doctoral thesis on, is designing content for experience or designing for particular experiences. And that's what I need to pick your brain about today. Do you have any thoughts on how you actually perform cool rituals that aren't people having to look at other people doing things?
Rituals can be really cool, but they can also be really boring.
Right?
I think involvement is important. If you feel you are part of it somehow, that's worth a lot. But the bad thing about being part of it is that a lot of the times rituals also feel off game. It feels like you need to keep track of all these things you were thinking about, and so I think it's more important that you can do it in game, as much as possible.
Yeah.
But also one thing that I find interesting with rituals is if they are not finished when they start. A lot of the times when the ritual starts, it's just going to follow and everybody's just going to watch, and then you can just as well go to the theater. Mm-hmm. But if you can affect the ritual as it's ongoing, then it's actually part of the game. And that could be, again, tied to the previous part of the sacrifice or the bargaining. That's one of those things. You don't know at the start if it's actually going to work. Or you don't know what it's going to... You might know that it's going to work, but not what it's going to cost. I haven't seen this done that much, but I think there's a lot of possibilities in that.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it's not going to look as cool.
No.
But maybe it's going to feel better to be there, even if it's not as cool looking.
I'm also loving that we're going to do this in Bisbee. In location, you could go up in Silverhättan and have a ritual. And then I'm thinking it would be cooler to actually have a ritual up there than to have a meta scene about something else.
Yeah. Since you have the location you have,
right,
I think.
Right.
Of course, because you're going to be out in the city, right?
Yes.
And Bisbee is
so beautiful.
It's such a nice city to play this LARP in.
Yeah.
Especially since it's like about magic and like...
Exactly.
Since it's modern fantasy, that town is modern fantasy.
No, it is an urban fantasy setting, basically. It's going to be brilliant. So I'm thinking we want to use this and not cut a meta scene. We want to stand there, do a little bit of chanting and having incense.
But it doesn't have to be magic. Maybe in that case it is being possessed by the magic.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking...
in some way, letting people have the right to be involved in the... Because one of the things that happens a lot, and this happens a lot not only in LARPs with magic, but when you see a scene happening and you don't know if you can kind of affect it, or you don't, you feel like the only thing I can do is watch because they have probably rehearsed this.
Yeah.
And that is a problematic thing because we are working with an interactive storytelling.
Yeah.
In that case, if you already from the beginning say, this is how a ritual works, in this and this and this instance you can affect it, then as you stand there, you can make your choice. You know that there is going to be an opening for, if I want to destroy this one, I go in at this moment and do it. Or if I want to help it, I go in at this moment. You can kind of have a small structure of how a ritual works with interactive parts in it. If it's like a ritual starts with chanting and everybody should be chanting, and then everybody who's there is chanting, whether you want to be part of it or not. And then if you're there to help out, or if you're there to break it, or whatever you're doing, you are doing that because you get the best feeling if everybody's part of that instance of it. And then maybe there is this situation when you have to pay your offer. And at that point you you step in different ways if you want to help out, or if you want to break it, or if you want to make it cost more, then you step in one way, or if you want to kind of make it happen as easy as possible, something like that. So that everybody knows that when the ritual starts, I can be part of it, even if I'm here as a spy. And then I have my moment to do something else. And that way it becomes a ritualized way of playing instead of being something that you watch.
No, that's really good. Okay, I have another thing that's problematic with rituals, especially if they're big. And I'm thinking if they're groups of 7 people, that's actually quite big. So I've been to many rituals, sort of where everyone goes forth to the fire and give up their sacrifice and say something, and
nobody cares about any sacrifice except their own.
Exactly that. And you're 35 people, and everyone pours a bit of meat onto the fire, and it dwindles and it dwindles and it dwindles.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So how do we give everyone the opportunity to give up their innermost secret or their most beloved feeling or whatever they're supposed to give up, but without it getting this sort of really lengthy and boring?
I've seen that lengthy, boring ritual work once.
Okay.
In my whole LARPing career, I've seen it work once.
Neat.
And you were the LARP.
Castaria.
It was the last Castaria. And the campaign had been ongoing for over 10 years.
But then everyone is so invested.
Yeah, exactly. And that was what happened at that point.
Yeah.
The cool adventurers who were kind of standing in the forefront against darkness, the young warriors with their shields and swords, they were kids that we saw grew up in that town, because we were playing every year.
Goosebumps as we talk about this. But
when they told their stories, everybody listened, because all the stories were things that everybody had experienced.
Okay, yeah. So we need to.
But you're not going to get there.
we still need to make the stories matter. Then that's sort of the take home here.
Yeah, if you want it to feel real, I think you need to make the stories matter. But I think it's hard to make stories matter.
So what I'm also thinking is that another way to make it interesting for everyone is that, of course, if say that we do this first ritual in a group of families. So if you have to give up like family secrets, if I have to say that I never actually loved my wife and all our kids are there, then this is going to cost and this is going to be interesting. And
especially that's going to be interesting because it's going to be something that more than you can play on for the rest of the life. And that's important, I think, because then it's a tool for the game. You have a chance to say that thing that you need, that you want more game on, that you haven't gotten yet.
And then, then you hope that the thing that I want more play on is also relevant for
at least one other player.
Yeah, but hopefully 4 at least, because then it's only 3 people who are currently very bored.
Or everybody doesn't have to talk directly to everybody else.
Maybe not. Maybe it's enough for it to be that I feel it. If I have to give up my love for you, and if we discuss this beforehand, so you know that this is the thing that I'm going to sacrifice in this ritual, then I don't have to make a big show of it for everyone. I mean, everyone can sort of, now is the time to give your sacrifice, and then we all step forward and we do this thing. And then you know that now my love for you is gone, sadly.
Yeah, the risk is that it's not big enough that it actually matters. Or maybe several can do it at a time. If it's tied to individual people, then you can walk up to that person. And so my thinking was, if you have openings, that's not about like giving everybody a chance to go forward, but rather it's about, if you want to play for this outcome, do it now. If you want to play for this outcome, do it now. That could be some kind of bargaining thing where you are bargaining against each other. So someone starts with something, and then someone continues to like poker betting, basically. You have to bet on top of each other until someone gives up. And then it can be as many or as few people as you want involved.
I was thinking they would have the same goal, so they all want this piece of information. I mean, but it's nice. Maybe they will be. I mean, that's sort of just like the 2 or 3 different. I mean, the sort of scripted rituals.
Like that could be a game system in the rest of the game. That starts with like tossing a coin. Another one is cutting their finger and bleeding a drop of blood. Then it goes back to the first one again, and then you kind of go to a level where someone needs to stop. But in a ritual where everybody's doing something together, then you could have this person possessed by the magic, and the magic demands things of you and gives like bets back. So where are we at? I think we got really.
We have some keywords here, how to make it relevant.
So you have an idea for what magic is. It's based upon cost and bargaining for the price of magic. And we have an idea of how magic looks in the form. It's always in the form of a ritual. We have quite a good idea of the first one. We have some thoughts about the second one. So that one is going to need another design iteration. Yeah. And that's of course how it looks all the time. You begin in a discussion like this. After that you go into trying it. And then you repolish it over and over.
So we might have this discussion again and again. Because, I mean, this LARP isn't scheduled for until next fall.
When is the LARP?
The LARP is end of September or early October 2021.
And what's it called?
We don't know yet. This is very early in the design stage. So we're going to launch this LARP at Prologue next year.
Which is a gaming convention here in Sweden.
Yes.
In February you will know more about this LARP. So that's how a design session in the LARP world can look. Or at least the part you get to see. We're going to cut out all the secrets. If you like this, feel free to join us, subscribe and all those things. And also watch another video. I think I'm going to try to put it over here. Somewhere over there.
Over here? Okay. Right.
See ya!